Hello and thanks for joining me, your sport pilot James on another exciting episode of Sport Vibe on TNT. We'll bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sport every Tuesday, as is our tradition to do this, and this week won't be an exception. So I would implore you to please stay tuned, because we'll be right back shortly after this break. Welcome back to a beautiful Tuesday. Starting from the world of tennis, we talk about the just introduced competition in the world of tennis, talking about the 6th King's Slam that took place over the week and during the weekend. This particular competition has nothing to do with the ATP ranking or the head-to-head meeting of the tennis player that participated in the competition. And in the 6th King's Slam, we saw 6 tennis players participating in that particular competition. We saw the rooms, we saw Novak Djokovic, we saw Rafael Nadal, we saw Carlos Alcaraz, we saw Jannik Sinner and Daniil Medvedev participated in that particular competition. It was an interesting one in Saudi Arabia, starting from the quarterfinals, where we saw Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner proceeding to the semi-finals to face Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal respectively. Jannik Sinner was able to defeat Novak Djokovic to proceed to the finals of the competition, while Carlos Alcaraz was able to defeat the legendary Rafael Nadal to also proceed to the finals of that particular competition. We were definitely entertained during the weekend in that particular competition. You know, that is the reason why this competition was held in Saudi Arabia. But an interesting one for Carlos Alcaraz being able to defeat Rafael Nadal in the semi-finals of the competition to set up a third-place match between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, when Novak Djokovic was able to defeat Rafael Nadal in the third-place match between these two, which in a match that appears to be their last match in the world of tennis. It was an interesting match to witness these two play on the tennis court in Saudi Arabia, where Novak Djokovic was able to defeat Rafael Nadal. These two legendary players playing on the tennis court was quite an interesting one and an emotional one for the two of them in the world of tennis. But talking about the new generation in the world of tennis, we talk about Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, who proceeded to the finals of that particular competition, where Jannik Sinner, the world #1, was able to defeat Carlos Alcaraz to win the inaugural edition of the 6th King's Slam competition. It was an interesting one between these two, and definitely more interesting one to see the young talent taking on the legend in the game of tennis. Quickly, and let's switch our attention to the world of Formula 1, as we witness an interesting one in the world of tennis. And another interesting one in the world of Formula 1 is that Carlos Sainz has been able to win the United States Grand Prix after the break in the Formula 1. It was an interesting one also for the Ferrari drivers, as we saw a 2-1 race in the United States Grand Prix, as we saw Carlos Sainz also occupying the second position, being a driver from the Ferrari team. This is an interesting one for the Ferrari team at the United States Grand Prix. Max Verstappen could only settle for the 3rd position after starting that race from the pole in the United States Grand Prix. What could be wrong with Red Bull and Max Verstappen? We all know that at this stage last season, he was dominating in the world of Formula 1. But right now, we can see the McLaren occupying the top position in the constructors standing, having 544 points ahead of the Red Bull, who has 504 points in the constructor standing. And as things stands right now, with the 3rd position that Max Verstappen was able to secure at the United States Grand Prix, this means he has 57 points ahead of his rival. We'll talk about Lando Norris, the McLaren driver, who currently occupies the 2nd position in the driver standing, with 5 match races left in the world of Formula 1. Who will be winning the driver of the season trophy at the end of the season in the world of Formula One. McLaren are doing well, and I can see Red Bull not putting up without a fight in the next race left in the world of Formula One. And let's switch our attention to the world of football, as we all know that the international break is over, where we saw so many matches being played during the international break, where we saw Georgia defeating England during the international break and England bouncing back. But right now we are back to the club football across Europe, where we saw Chelsea suffering a defeat on the Super Sunday to Liverpool, where they were defeated 2-1 in that particular one at the Anfield Stadium. This means that Liverpool has continued to dominate and have a dominant performance against Chelsea in their last 10 matches played between these two, when you are going to count domestic competition. Also, Liverpool has been able to get the better side of Chelsea Football Club 10 times in their last 10 meetings in the world of football. But particularly talking about the Premier League right now, Liverpool were able to defeat Chelsea to maintain their top position in the Premier League. As things stands, after one defeat to Nottingham Forest, Liverpool currently occupies the first spot in the Premier League with 21 points, and they are followed closely by one of their rivals, Manchester City. But quickly, let's go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we'll continue from where we stopped. Welcome back. It was an interesting weekend to see in the world of football, as Manchester City were able to get a controversial win against Wolves during the weekend, where we saw John Stones coming back again to salvage a 3-point for the Manchester City side. You remember that their last meeting between them and Arsenal, John Stones was able to score a goal that leveled it up, and they were able to share points with Arsenal Football Club. But right now he has been able to score a controversial goal, which means that Manchester City are the only team in the Premier League right now that are yet to be defeated in the competition. It was an interesting one for Manchester United, who were back to their winning ways after being able to defeat Brentford at Old Trafford during the weekend. They were able to come back from behind to defeat Brentford 2-1 in that particular encounter, and this means that they have gotten their first win in a long while in the Premier League. After playing 8 matches, they have been able to accumulate 11 points, and also a sad one for Arsenal Football Club, and something that they wouldn't like to hear, adding salt to their injuries. Saliba receiving a red card after Arsenal Football Club suffered a defeat to Bournemouth during the weekend. It was a 2-goal defeat to Arsenal Football Club, who saw Saliba receiving a red card at the first half of the competition, and this means that Saliba won't be playing on the Super Sunday in the match that will be taking place between Liverpool and Arsenal Football Club. And as you know, right now Arsenal are sitting at the third position in the Premier League, and they are followed closely by Brighton and Hove Albion, who have 17 points to themselves also. And you know that in that particular competition it's going to be a fight one to watch, as we also know that Manchester City have 20 points in the Premier League right now. Chelsea is suffering a defeat to Liverpool, and this weekend we'll be seeing the Liverpool side playing on Arsenal without Saliba. Saliba will be absent after picking up a red card against Bournemouth in the Premier League Super Sunday that is yet to come. And another interesting one, talking and switching our attention to the La Liga, is that Sevilla were defeated 5-1 by Barcelona in that particular encounter during the weekend, as Barcelona continues to occupy the number 1 spot in the La Liga ahead of Real Madrid, who they are leading with 3 points at the top of the La Liga table. Real Madrid also were able to defeat Celta Vigo during the weekend 2-1 ahead of the El Clasico that will be taking place on Saturday in the world of football. It's going to be an interesting match to watch between Barcelona, the league leaders, and Real Madrid, who are following closely in the La Liga table. Will Real Madrid be able to defeat Barcelona to go level on points with Barcelona? Will Barcelona be able to defeat Real Madrid to continue at the top of the La Liga table? All this game will be played on Saturday between Real Madrid and Barcelona, the El Clasico. And before the El Clasico this week, we'll be witnessing some matches played in the Champions League, where we'll be seeing Barcelona taking on Bayern Munich. It was an interesting outing for Bayern Munich during the weekend also, where we saw Harry Kane scoring an hat-trick, again his third hat-trick in the Bundesliga this season, and it's going to be an interesting one to see Barcelona taking on Bayern Munich. As you know, the record between these two is quite an interesting one, where Barcelona were defeated by Bayern Munich under Arne Slot, and right now Arne Slot is the manager of Barcelona. We will be seeing him defeating his former side Bayern Munich under Vincent Kompany, or will they be sharing the points? This is another match to look out for in the UEFA Champions League. Another match that will be taking place in the UEFA Champions League will be the match between Paris Saint-Germain and PSV. This is another interesting one to watch out for, PSG and PSV in the UEFA Champions League. And also Real Madrid will be taking on Borussia Dortmund, the team that they played and were able to defeat in the finals of last season UEFA Champions League. They'll be playing them at the group stage, and will they be able to bounce back after their defeat to Lille in the UEFA Champions League? And another match that will be taking place during this midweek will be Liverpool versus RB Leipzig. Will Liverpool be able to continue with their winning streak under Arne Slot, and will they be able to proceed to the knockout phase of the competition? This is yet to be decided, as so many matches are yet to be played. Remember, they were able to defeat AC Milan. Will they be able to defeat the German side, where we talk about RB Leipzig in the UEFA Champions League match? And this is the length at which we will be able to go on this edition of Sport Vibe on DNT World. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handles at Sport Vibe on DNT World. Enjoy your week, remain blessed, and remain a law-abiding citizen. Thank you.